Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 3 of our latest playthrough on Grand Tactician, The Civil War. If you did not see the first 2 episodes, or my explanation for how I am playing through, what the rules I'm using for this playthrough are, those are in episode 1. There's a link in the description that will take you back to that. I am looking at Joe Hooker and the phenomenal stats that he currently has, and there is no reason whatsoever that this man should be in anything less than an army command at this point. So we are going to go ahead and promote him all the way up to the leadership of the Army of Northeastern Virginia. Now that means promotion. And you can see here, we at least need to get him up to Brigadier General. We're going to probably need to go higher than that. But the first thing I need to do is go ahead and replace him as a brigade commander. We got Sherman sitting there waiting for another command, and we'll give him one. But let's go ahead and put George Thomas in command of his brigade. And now we're going to replace Irvin McDowell with Joe Hooker. A much better fit, I think, for the Army. We've got really good leadership skills, which is going to help a lot. Administration. This stuff filters down. So if you've got a bad commander at any higher level, it filters down and affects the lower levels. So it's important that we get those commanders to be in good positions to really help out wherever possible. But Hooker being an Army command, I think, is going to help a lot. Continuing to get those patron units recruited. Patterson's not a real good. And I should point out, too, that this is technically still a core, the 3X, because we have not completed the policy that will allow us to have armies with multiple corps, which we'll eventually get to. So for now, that is the way an army looks. But Patterson's probably going to need to be replaced as well. McClellan isn't showing real good at the moment. Neither is Harney. None of my army commanders are real good, not even Grant for that matter. But that stuff gets revealed through battle. So we'll give it a little bit more time before we go removing people. We're waiting for Grant's army to show up. None of his units have been recruited as of yet, and he is currently on the move with his headquarters near Decatur, Illinois, making his way down to Cairo, which will be his base. We'll build a supply base there, and then we can start thinking about where we want to operate in Western Tennessee. So his North Carolina squadron keeps raiding up into the Chesapeake Bay, so I'm going to send the flying flotilla out there. We're going to give them a couple of nice big ships with which to protect that area. It's going to take some time for those ships to get there. But once they do, that should deal with the issue. Crittenden-Johnson resolution, a bill to preserve the Union. So what this was historically was a resolution that Congress really didn't have the authority to pass, I don't think. But what it was an attempt to try and resolve the issue of the Civil War. Which basically it says, the resolution intends that the Union government will take no actions against the institution of slavery. This could retain the loyalty of Unionists and the slaveholding border states. For this reason, Pennsylvania Congressman and abolitionist Thaddeus Stevens has abstained from voting on the measure. So he was, probably the strongest abolitionist in Congress. But it was a last-ditch attempt to try and get some of the border states calmed down, to get even maybe states like Virginia to reconsider. But it really just didn't have any practical effect. I'm looking at our home squadron here too, and I'm thinking that are we on blockade orders? I don't know if we are or not, but we definitely need to be blockading here. Okay, so the Army of Northeastern Virginia is going to be in combat once again against the recently defeated Army of the Shenandoah, but they're a little more reinforced. It's going to be a little more even. You can see this broken heart here. It's got 3 brigades with a total of 3,100 men that are on low morale. I'm not entirely sure why that is, because we just won a victory, but we'll have to keep a close eye on those particular brigades. It's going to be the 3rd battle of Aqueduct Bridge. We like those battles in that location. Okay, so here are the units that are unstable. It's Key's 1st Brigade with 1,000 men. It's the 2,000 men of Schenk's 2nd Brigade. I don't know who the other one is, because it said there was 3. It must be one of our batteries. Yeah, it's the 1st Division batteries. So I'm not sure why that is. George Thomas, this is formerly Hooker's brigade, and that's why you see them already having a perk, because Hooker's stats were so good that he was training up those troops, and they very quickly leveled up and got their first perk. So right now they've still only got Springfield muskets, but I like the idea of giving them the deadly volley perk. So let's go ahead and do that. We're fighting on the same battlefield again that we've been fighting on. We are once again, for the third time, going to be able to fight this defensively. And so it's basically a replay of the last two battles. I might try something a little different just to mix it up. The objectives are way back here, so there's really no reason I need to advance up that far. I'm looking at some spots where it might be good for a defense. I kind of like this open field right here. I'm thinking that might be where we kind of put folks in. So we'll spread out a little bit, because he honestly could probably go down. Well, you know what? There's an objective there, so we've got to be thinking about that. There's some decent high ground up here. Maybe in the edge of these woods right here is the spot to go. I don't know. That's a possibility. We could dig in right along this line here. Let's think about that. And then I'll go ahead and issue my orders. I did go ahead and, in all of my armies, create a separate division for artillery, so we can control the artillery directly and place it where we want it, and then let the division commanders control their infantry. Okay, we're in position where I want them, and we can see the situation here. Morale pretty even on both sides. Numbers almost completely even on both sides. Really very little separating us until we get into combat. I expect them to come down. Oh, he's not coming from that way. He's coming from over here this time. So there's a good chance we may see him coming down this road right here. In which case, we may need to think about redeploying out this way with one of our brigades. Or one of our divisions. I'm thinking maybe Henry Hunt doesn't even have anybody in his division currently. John Barnard, he's the one that's got the unstable, nervous men at the moment. That's maybe not the ones we want to do that with. Let's send Edwin and Sumner over that way. We'll keep Barnard over here. And here they come, right down the road where I expected them to be. Oh, and by the way, they now have a feature that's similar to what they have on Total War, which is when you click on the space bar, you can see where everybody is set to move, which is a really nice feature that I was hoping they were going to add. Okay, so skirmishers have gone out to engage the lead rebel units. That's Burnside's detachment. They don't appear like they're going to last very long doing that. They're taking a lot of casualties. Well, 22, that's not a lot, really. Alright, what's the problem here? We've got a division commander, Orlando Wilcox, who has got the feud notification, which means he's going to want to kind of do his own thing. I'm going to move this artillery up. Maybe as close as right there. Don Carlos Buell, Lieutenant Colonel Don Carlos Buell, and his 6-pounders. I'm going to keep Barnard where he is with his 2 divisions. I'm not going to advance them toward the action. We're going to let Erasmus Keyes, or no, it's Edwin Sumner, get over there with his division. That's the New Jersey Militia and the Pennsylvania Dutch Brigade under William Buell Franklin. Right here we've got the Victorian Volunteers. That's the Royal Redcoats division. They're going to kind of hold the line here for now. We may move them up eventually. Alright, here they come again, and out go our skirmishers again. It's kind of how this is going to go for a while. We've lost 100 men. He's lost about 50 or so. But he keeps coming down that road and probing and then disappearing again. Buell's guns are opening up now. Sumner looks like he's kind of shifting a little bit. Are these guys calming down yet? No, they're still unstable. They're probably going to remain unstable for this battle. I don't want to take any chances with them. I might go ahead and move Mansfield's division up just to give him something else to look at here. Where are they going? They keep coming down that road and then backing out again. I'm going to move Mansfield up just a little bit. Okay, he's starting to shift a little more this way, which concerns me now with Sumner having redeployed himself to face that way instead of facing straight up like he was. I'm going to send Barnard's division into a reserve position back here. And then we may swing Mansfield up and around and into his flank if he continues focusing on my right. All right, Sumner, are you going to do something here, or are you just going to keep facing that way? Don't like where he's got the Pennsylvania Dutch Brigade at all. But it is not my job to micromanage a division commander, as much as I would like to do so. Okay, he is starting to move his guns down, and they're going to start firing into Franklin's flank. I really hope Franklin reconsiders his positioning here. I may be able to give him new division orders and see if that helps. Shift your division facing that way, sir. And I don't know what Wilcox did. He pulled Burnside back in a really weird spot. Alright, we're going to go ahead and bring the row of redcoats up. Give him something to think about over here on his right flank. Can't quite get Buell's guns on target from there, so I'm going to move them up some more. Try to get Wilcox to come into line right next to Sumner. And then we've got these reinforcements back here, but I really don't want to have to use them. Those are my unstable units. Let's see what he does in response to bringing in these brigades over here. The redcoats. Alright, there we go. We got Buell's guns opening up now. They're only 6-pounders, but I really don't have any better guns available at the moment. It's really early in the war, and there just aren't the weapons that I need available. Alright, I'm really not sure what he's doing. Alright, it's late night, 8:30, and he's advancing with one brigade, Smith's brigade, out here on my right flank. And it looks like Franklin's skirmishers are going to go out to meet him there. It's a small brigade, the Virginia Brigade. They've only got 641 men, and they've suffered 182 casualties already. I'm not sure why that is, except that they were the ones that came down first. And so they probably engaged my skirmishers earlier when they came down the road. But we're not going to see a lot of action on day one here. 277, my own casualties estimated on the enemy is about 200. But at some point he will have to attack me. He can't just sit tight. Alright, it's the end of day one. We'll see what happens as far as redeployment goes. I'm going to sit completely tight right where I am. And it doesn't look like he did any redeployment either. He does have another brigade coming down this road. But again, I have the luxury of not having to do anything. Yeah, there's another whole division coming down that road. That's probably what he was waiting for before he launches any kind of an attack. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move Buell's 6-pounders up into the field of fire. I'm going to do the same with Ayer's 12-pounder howitzers, even though he's got a bit of a instability there, but there's only 5 guns, so not a huge deal. But he's just been picking at me with his artillery, so I want to be able to do the same to him and maybe increase the odds that he will act in some way. There we go. So now these guns will all be able to open up. I think these guys still can't get a line of sight on anybody, so we're going to have to shift them over even further. You can see the yellow is kind of showing their line of sight. We need to get them around these woods. Who's firing? Oh, he came at me with that Virginia Brigade again, but we got him. How many men do they have left? Kime's only got 347 men, so we might not want to go at them. But I'd love to be able to ride them down with some cavalry. Just not when he's got that many men. Alright, let's see if we can get these guys somewhere where they can fire. Man, there we go. Now we're going to move these ones over again. Yeah, once again, they don't... There's something about the terrain right here that they're just having trouble seeing the enemy. Yeah, let's bring them all the way over here, I guess. Alright, here he comes again. Maybe we need to back off. Alright, I'm going to send this battery over here. No, Mansfield, don't shift. Oh, I see what he's doing. He's going to shift to kind of face him this way. Alright, that's fair. He does have a defensive order, so he's fighting a defensive battle. Thing is, we might not ever even have a major engagement here. We're sitting at a minor victory, and we're very quickly shifting over toward winning. We drive off 1 or 2 brigades, that might do it. Now, Don Carlos Buell was wounded in action, moving his battery into position. Must have got hit by the artillery. Oh, I didn't mean to move those guys. I want to move this artillery up a little bit. I just can't find a good spot for him. I'm still not sure what he's thinking about over here. Looks like he may finally come into contact with our skirmishers out on our left flank, though. Here we go. So Ferry's detachment, that's the skirmishers coming from the 1st Victorian Volunteers. So he's got his full brigade facing off against us here. We've got just the skirmishers for the most part. Although it looks like the 1st Victorian Volunteers are now in position to start firing on them directly. And this might be enough to secure victory if we drive them off. Oh, what are we doing here? 42nd Royal Highlanders are moving into a reserve position now. Behind the battery. Skirmishers just got driven off. I'd like to see him move Chapman up. Doesn't seem to be happening. Alright, looks like he is making the decision to back the heck out. He's actually withdrawing, I think, his whole force. Mansfield, attack, brother, attack. See if you can pursue Cooper. It's going to be led by the 1st Victorian Volunteers. They're going to go after this guy. See if we can't make something happen. Force him into a fight. We've got Abbott's detachment over here. They're just out of range at the moment. He's going to send his skirmishers forward now. Oh, there now he's pushing. I don't want to push with the rest of the army. I'm pretty content with what we're doing here. Looks like we broke Cooper, and that's enough to win the battle. There it is. All right, we did not have to suffer much in that one. That was a pretty minor engagement. All right, Joe Hooker, 523 casualties. His first command of the army in a battle. 750 on Joe Johnston's side. So pretty minor in the grand scheme of things. I'd like to get us moved off of that spot so we don't keep fighting in that same place. So we're going to try to move the army south a little bit and see what happens. But the main thing is that now with Joe Hooker in command of that army, we're going to start to see the effect of his skill translate into training for this army, and it's going to become a professional army. It's going to become an elite fighting force, especially when we can get them some better weapons. Let's go ahead and see what the result is, and if we've got anybody that we've got to deal with as far as replacement goes. Colonel Cooper loses face. I'm not sure who Colonel Cooper is in this particular army. Let's take a look. Alright, so Cooper... Oh, that must have been somebody on there. Yeah, that was their commander of that unit that broke first. So we're good here. I don't know how this affects things as far as the commander's skill goes. But we'll see those numbers go up, especially as we win battles. Hopefully, especially for our division commanders. Actually, Hunt's definitely a better commander than Morris. And Henry Hunt actually historically is a artillery guy. So let's put all our artillery under him instead. We'll let Morris be the odd man out here. Alright, so even in Washington, we've only got a supply max right now of being able to supply 12,000. So we've got to start building supplies. Even here in northeastern Virginia. We're going to have to do the same over here. And Supply Depot is going to be the name of the game early in the action. We're going to be recruiting armies and building our supply base with which to eventually move on the south. I'm going to go ahead and move McClellan down here to Portsmouth. Grab these farms for the Union. Eventually we're going to need to work on getting West Virginia, but that's a long way off. Still waiting on Grant to get down to Cairo. Department of the West, same deal here. Let's look at where we're at supply-wise. Because these guys are in good shape. Looks like we can supply 37,000 men out of St. Louis, so we're in good shape there. It's August 1st now. Pretty even numbers of men fielded. Alright, so one of the other things we want to be looking at is the ability to build new railroads. Chicago and Cairo, I like that idea. The more railroads are construction simultaneously, the slower the construction progress for all railroads. That's fine. I want to get that Chicago to Cairo line built because that's going to be our supply line for Western Tennessee. And where did Grant... Okay, Grant's army's finally arriving. The Army of the Mississippi. So we're going to go ahead, once he's there, we're going to go ahead and start building our supplies. And you can see his readiness is very poor. He's got his 12,000 men now. And eventually we're going to want to run some... what do you call them? Telegraph lines out there so that we can... You can see we've got one right here, but we're going to want to run those down into the south so orders can get to them quickly when the time comes. Alright, he's not even in a position where he can build anything yet. We've got to at least get him up into orange for that. Okay, so Grant has now hit the orange, which is low readiness stage, so now we can go ahead and start building our supply depots, which are going to be really important for us to have here. And we're going to probably want more than one. So I'm going to at least get 2 of those going, with the thought process being that eventually we're going to work our way south and we'll have to build a series of supply depots moving south. It's going to be slow going to get Grant's army where we want to go with it, but the Confederates just hit Industrialization 3, which is huge. We're 3 days away from Diplomacy 2. Well, I promise you guys we're going to get you some action that does not involve the Army of Northeastern Virginia in the same spot. But his readiness was not in the place where I can move him. It finally got there, and he marched Hampton's division up from Richmond to hit me. So we're facing a different force with the exact same army in the exact same place. So I promise you, next episode, we're going to get other units involved besides the 4th Battle of Aqueduct Bridge with the same Union army once again. All right, so we made it to day 2. No contact with the enemy so far. I'm going to try to be a little more aggressive this time with my placement of my forces. They do all have defensive orders, but we're going to move all the way up to right here. I'm guessing he's coming down this road, though he certainly could have gone that way and decided to come at me over there. And because of that, we're going to send Sumner over there just to cover that approach. Then we'll get our guns up here as best we can. We're going to keep Barnard as the reserve once more. And here we go. All right, still no contact with the enemy, so once again we're going to move forward to a defensive position here, and then put Sumner up here at the crossing. Bring up my reserve. He must be sitting back all the way at his entry point. That's the only thing I can figure from the fact that we haven't spotted him yet. I'm starting to wonder where his army is, because it's not up here. That means he has snuck around me somewhere. He may have gone down this road to get in behind me and go at these objectives, but he hasn't shown up at any of the objectives yet. But boy, that makes for an interesting turn of events. We're going to go grab this spot here, and then we're going to have to go hunting for him. This is the only cavalry I have so far in this army. I do have more on the way that I've recruited, but they're not here yet. And I've done a lot of marching already today. I have no idea where his army is. Fascinating. Oh, and there it is. Just as soon as I had stopped recording, we got a notification. He did grab Dr. Noble right down there. So he snuck in behind us without us ever knowing it. Which means now I got to turn and become the aggressor in this fight. That's a lot of marching we're going to ask of our men to get back into this thing. We may have to just kind of wait things out a little bit. Give our men a night to rest before we go into combat. Okay, we've made our first contact in the process of moving our army. And you can see how incredibly spread out we are. So it's not an ideal situation, but the Pennsylvania Dutch Brigade under William Buell Franklin is going to make first contact. And it looks like it's with the Peninsula Cavalry under John Bell Hood. And his whole army is right there with him. So we're going to need all these men to get there as quick as we can. I need Wilcox to get his men over this way. Problem is with us being spread out like this, it's going to take a while for those orders to get there from General Hooker. This is Barnard's division. We're going to just redeploy them right here. Wilcox is going to bring his division right there. Henry Hunt is the artillery. The Royal Redcoats division is way in the back at the moment. So for the time being, I'm just going to give them orders to come right up into here. And then once they get closer and we see where the enemy is, we'll have a better idea of what to do. Alright, so Barnard's got his division in place. Mixed muskets, unfortunately. We do have one new unit we didn't have last time, and that's the Calgary Highlanders. Unfortunately, they've got mixed muskets because we didn't have any other better weapons available, but we will definitely get them upgraded once better weapons do become available. Who's this here? This is Wilcox getting into position now. Hopefully he's going to get the attention of these guys. Oh boy, this battery just got opened up on big time. Franklin, what are you doing? Oh, he's pulling back a little bit. We need the rest of Sumner's division to get into place quickly. In fact, I may be better off to pull back a little bit here. Let's pull Barnard back from there. gonna pull these guns back. Oh, did Franklin break? Are you kidding me? You lost 50 men. That's what happens when you get spread out like this. Oh boy. All right. That's a problem. We'll get this figured out though. Okay, so here's the situation. We've got 378 cavalry here that I unfortunately am going to have to give the unenviable task of dealing with this artillery here that is just ripping me to shreds on my left as I'm trying to get my brigades into position. So we're going to send Keim's cavalry up there, who are very tired after riding all over the place, to try and deal with that artillery. And then we're going to hope for a good night's sleep and an opportunity to redeploy and fix our issues that we've got here. I'm not entirely sure this cap's even going to make it to that. Nah, they didn't. That's pretty much going to be the end of them. They lost 100 men. Alright, this has not started out well at all. We just need to hold tight, wait for nightfall, and redeploy. Okay, thankfully my division commanders got smart and sent some artillery or some skirmishers up here to take on that artillery. Hopefully they can at least inflict some casualties on them. They have. They've taken out about a quarter of their men. Alright, they drove off that battery. Thank goodness. Alright, so that'll help a little bit going into the next day. You can see the situation here as it exists. 2-to-1 casualties in his favor. My cavalry, oh, that was my one battery that got wiped out. They withdrew, so we've both lost a battery now. Here we can look at the numbers. We've both lost about 20 guns. Alright, now we get a chance to redeploy and fix this mess. So let's start with Mansfield. Let's get him deployed over here on the left. We'll get Sumner here in the middle. We're probably going to have to go on the attack here. Barnard is going to be right here. And then Wilcox right here. And I think this is going to be basically just attack all the way across the line. We haven't had to do that. But it'll be interesting to see how our men handle that as an order. I can't give Mansfield an order yet. I don't know why. Maybe because we're issuing too many already. Alright, here we go. Oh, it looks like he's coming at me. I probably should have just sat back and defended, but it's too late now. I've already given the orders. This is going to get interesting. We're going to have two armies attacking each other. Shank's going to just go Leroy Jenkins right into the middle of the Confederate line. Ah, but it's going to allow him to get on the flank of Hill's brigade. Would very much like to see these guys start firing. And now he's pulling back. This is going to be an absolute mess, and there's a good chance we don't win it. Numbers are almost identical. But Shank getting on Hill's flank might turn out to be a real blessing. I was a little leery of that when he did it, but now that it's happening, I'm feeling pretty good about it. The problem is he's not close enough to actually fire. So he's standing there for no reason. I'd be moving him up, but it's not my job. Alright. Victorian Volunteers over on the left. Mansfield, I'd very much like to see you move your guys forward. Really not entirely sure what Barnard's doing. Alright, here we go. We're going to start ganging up on Hill a little bit. What's going on here in the center? Pennsylvania Dutch Brigade. They've got Enfield, so they've got a nice long range. New Jersey Militia, not really firing at the moment. They've got Springfields, they could be, if they would switch their order over to long range. Not sure what Ferry's going to do here. Oh, dang. We broke hill over on the right. But George Thomas, he's going to take on the whole Confederate army himself. The problem is he marched right in front of that battery and just got lit up. He only lost 54 men, but it doesn't take much when you march in front of a battery and have them fire into your flank for you to get broken. And that's what happened to George Thomas there, even though he's our most experienced brigade so far. Alright, we need Abercrombie. We need these guys to move forward. That's the Calgary Highlanders out on the edge there. They really need to be charging into this artillery. So I'm going to go ahead and give Wilcox an assault order, because we can't sit here and just get pummeled by this artillery like we are. Not entirely sure what Mansfield's doing, but I'm going to switch him over to a defense order. Alright, Shank, let's do this. Charge into him. Really need to see the Calgary Highlanders do the same thing. This has been an absolute just crap show as far as battle goes, but it's working. Somehow, it's still working. But it could change in a hurry, because Franklin once again is exposing his flank. So is Peter Lyle, the New Jersey militia. Oh, these are the days where I wish I could micromanage my brigades and fix these issues. But it's not my job. Gonna say that a lot in this series. Not my job. Come on, Wilcox. Hit these guys. Take out that battery. That's you, Calgary Highlanders. They need to be charging into this battery. There they go. They've got to take out that battery. Go, baby. First battle. And we're going to ask them to do this. At least switch to a long-range fire so you can hit these guys. You're just going to stand there. Completely worthless right there. Do something. Charge. Oh, frustrating. But we're still going to win. By some miracle of incompetence, we're going to win this battle. Alright. That was crazy. Not a fan. Boy, once we get into core, like 1862, and we're dealing with 70, 80,000 men, and I've got to deal with multiple corps, this is going to be such a nightmare. But I promise, next episode we will get other units involved, and we will not keep fighting on the same battlefield. I will make sure we get moving. This army's ready to move now, so we can start moving them down toward Fredericksburg. Now the Calgary Highlanders charged. Alright, another nice victory for Joe Hooker. Around 3,000 casualties inflicted on the enemy. About 1,386 for us. But we're getting some nice experience for these base units for the Army that'll eventually become the Army of the Potomac once we are able to get full armies. And I think that's what I'm going to do next, is now that we have hit the diplomacy policy that we were working on, I think I'm going to go ahead and work on the next military policy that will allow us to build Army Corps. But we'll take a look and see if that's where we are. That's one thing we need to do. The other thing we need to do is get the Army of Northeastern Virginia moved off of that spot, now that they have the ability to do that. You can see their readiness is going to allow them. Oh no, we got to be up into yellow, and we're not quite there yet. We also don't have food. So we're going to have to get some supply going there. So all of that is an issue at the moment, but that's for another day. We're ready to select another policy. We can select one more policy, and then we're going to have to invest. Maybe the Regulars Act. Let's go ahead and go. Military 2 is going to take 50 days. I don't think. Oh, that's because we haven't completed diplomacy yet. We got 2 days left on that one. Let's go ahead and get there real quick. I'd like to get Hooker's readiness into yellow. So we can move him off of that spot. Not have to keep fighting in the same place. There we go. Alright. Militia Act 2, still 50 days. Or Military 2. So I don't think we want to go there yet. I think there's other things we could do. Industrialization 2. Nah. Even though the South's got 3 already. Let's go ahead and do the regulars. Just waiting for Hooker to get there. But we might get ourselves into another battle first. He's got up to 96,000 men now. We've got to get moving on our recruitment. And part of that involves finances, because I'm going to invest more in trade war too. And industry. Not so much in diplomacy at the moment. We're going to go higher on recruitment though, because I just don't have a lot of men available from the States at the moment. Okay, now we can move him. Oh, and he's going to move back, so we're going to end up in another fight. I'm going to pause it right there. I'm going to wrap it up for now. We will be back in a couple of days. It'll be almost into September of 1861. Hopefully we'll start to see some new things happen. Let me know your thoughts. Use the comment section below. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.